Hey everybody, it's Sean Bewley the Kid. I'm going to show you something that I've had for many, many years that I think is pretty special. This is a model 1873 Springfield Trapdoor rifle. It's not only a piece of American history, it's Hollywood history. Because right here, stamped in the barrel, it says MGM Props Department. But before we dive in, if you love amazing and sometimes downright weird stories, especially from the old Southwest, then buckle up because I'll take you along for the ride. Now, I've got to warn you, I may veer off course for just a moment now and then, talking about my personal connections to the story. But don't you worry, I'll have us back on track before you even know it. If you enjoy these stories, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. It really helps keep the adventure going. This gun has probably been in more battles than most real soldiers. But every man shot by this rifle got back up for lunch. You see, back in Hollywood's golden age, they didn't use foam props, computer-generated muzzle flashes. They used the real thing. Decommissioned, but heavy, steel, functioning rifles and guns just like this one. This exact model might have played a Union soldier on Monday, a cowboy on Wednesday, a pirate by Friday. That's how Hollywood works. One rifle, infinite roles. And the Springfield Trapdoor was a star in its own right. Originally the first breech-loading rifle issued to the U.S. troops, fired faster, reloaded easier, and saw real blood in the Indian Wars and post-Civil War frontier. But in Hollywood, it saw a lot more screen time than battlefield time. And MGM, their props department had an arsenal that would make any third world dictator jealous. They had over 7,000 weapons, which they cataloged, cleaned, and reused. Some actors grabbed the same gun film after film, not for historical accuracy, but because it made them feel lucky. Can you imagine the armorer saying, "Do you want the same one Charlton Heston used in Big Country? Yeah, I got it in the back." But not all stories ended with lunch breaks and laugh tracks, because when you use real guns, even with blanks, things can go very wrong. Most people don't know that blanks fired out of these weapons can still kill. At close range, the pressure and the debris are strong enough to shatter bone. That's how Brandon Lee died while filming on the set of The Crow, and that's how John Eric Hexum died. He was playing around with a pistol that had a blank in it, and he thought it was safe. And then there's the Rust tragedy. Alec Baldwin, one of the biggest names in Hollywood, was standing on the set of a small western in New Mexico, and he was holding a gun that he was told was a cold gun. And that's just a term for it's not loaded. And during rehearsal, he pulled the trigger and a real round fired. It struck and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Now, I'm not a big Alec Baldwin fan, but I don't believe for a second that he intended to take a life when he showed up to film that day. But intention doesn't erase the consequence. Not only was a family shattered, but this whole illusion that Hollywood sets are safe. So the armorer on that set since has been convicted, and Alec Baldwin faced charges, lawsuits, headlines, etc. And the Hollywood industry is still reeling from that event. What that moment did, more than any before, is remind people that in a world built in fiction, things could get painfully real. You know, a gun is still a gun, and all it takes is one mistake, and it could be very fatal. Those tragedies changed everything. Today, movie sets are run like military operations when it comes to weapons. Real guns are rare. Rubber is common, and computer-generated effects do all the dirty work. Still, there's something about holding one of these old screen-used rifles. You feel the weight, you feel the history, you feel the echoes of the stories that these helped tell. Now, this rifle is very real. When I looked up the serial number here with Springfield Arms, it said that this particular rifle right here was made in 1875. And sometime after that, MGM acquired it as part of their props department. And then in the 1980s, MGM sold off a huge amount of its weapons and props. So this was part of that sale. But this thing had some history even before the movies. Now, this rifle may not have drawn real blood in war, but it has stormed 100 hills. It has won 1,000 duels. It has helped tell the stories of heroes, villains, and everyone between. And you know, the funny thing about Hollywood, even the guns are actors. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to keep this piece of history. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Bewley, the Kid.